4,000 members of the United Auto Workers Union are on strike after a deal with heavy truck manufacturer Mack Trucks fell apart. Last week, a tentative agreement had been reached in the last hour before deadline, barely avoiding a strike, but 73% of union members rejected the proposed deal over the weekend and went on strike Monday.
UAW's president, Shawn Fain, applauded the workers in a statement, writing, quote, "I'm inspired to see UAW members at Mack holding out for a better deal and ready to stand up and walk off the job to win it." Included in their asks is a pay raise, higher signing bonuses, and better PTO. The president of Mack Trucks said in a statement he is surprised and disappointed. So he went on that statement to say that he thinks they were bargaining in good faith, etc. But the main concern, it seems, for the striking workers is that the raise that was offered was simply too small to keep up with inflation. So I'm seeing a lot of people...
How small?
19%.
Okay.
Yeah. So the reality is, as we've talked about in the context of the initial group of striking UAW workers, they agreed to take a lot of hits to their pension and pay back during the recession, and they never recovered at the same time that the CEO pay has gone out of control. I think it was a 25% raise, and so they were saying it should be commensurate for us, the people who are actually working in the factories.
I thought the UAW people were offered up to a 40% raise.
Oh, maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Maybe that was it. Maybe the 25 is the $25 million a year that the CEO pay was. Maybe that those are the numbers that I'm confusing in my head. But regardless, in this instance, it seems that it was pretty near, it's not near, not unanimous, but 73% of people voting to reject the contract is pretty significant. This wasn't even really a close one. And apparently in some online forums, there you can find workers, this was reported, I think, by Reuters, complaining that the offered raise just wasn't anywhere near high enough to justify taking it. So what do you make of this?
I mean, they can do whatever they want, obviously. It seemed like a lot of them didn't think that was enough. I guess I wonder if it was twice that, if it was 40%, but that was the UAW's group rejected that as well, which seemed like a pretty sizable amount to me. But again, they can strike for whatever they want, and I do think the auto sector benefited from a lot of public money back during that catastrophe, and thus has not, the companies themselves have not exactly endeared themselves to me and probably the American taxpayers, what they took. So I understand people thinking it's not quite fair for the people at the top to be raking it in while the pay has stagnated, supposedly, for the employees. And I guess it'll continue until they've reached a better deal.
Other factors that are at play in the negotiation are apparently, in addition to wage increases, obviously, cost of living allowances, job security, pensions, prescription drug coverage, and overtime. It is interesting how much healthcare costs often figure into these negotiations. And in fact, at some points historically, unions' ability to secure healthcare coverage for workers has created a wedge between some union leadership and the advocacy for universal health coverage, because but for unions, that's one of the things that they were able to offer that was most significant to their cohort. If it was now like a government provided resource, the union has less that they can say that they're actually fighting for. That's not an issue in this case.
Well,
but
for public unions, often the benefits are often very good even when pay is. I know this is often true in the education sector, public teachers. It's not that the pay is standard or middling, but the benefits tend to be pretty good. This is obviously a private union, so the difference might be not the same thing.
So this is a little bit more detail about the pay wage increase that's been offered. This is from the New York Times. The automakers have been offered wage increases of more than 20% over 4 years. So again, I think that's when the inflation comes in. It's not automatic, which would have a bigger impact. They also have agreed to shorten the time from 4 years from 8 years that it takes a new worker to rise up from the entry-level wage of about $17 an hour to the highest level wage of $32 an hour. We talked about this in the earlier wave of the UAW strikes, that having tiered employees where earlier, younger, newer employees are not paid at the same tier as people who have been working there a longer period of time is another technique that businesses use to create divisions between workers and animosity between workers, and prevents them from striking. So having a less tiered pay scale has been a part of the negotiations in the first round of the big three companies that we were discussing earlier. And it'll be interesting to see if that continues to emerge as an issue here with Mack Truck.
You're saying the union does not want it tiered like that?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think often the workers who've been there longest and are most involved in the union, I mean, they want better pay than workers starting out, right?
No, absolutely not. I mean, that perception, for reasons that you just described, it hurts people's desire to be in a union. It hurts people's sense of solidarity across the unions. And when people are standing side by side together, doing the exact same job on the exact same line, and they know that the person next to them is making a lot more money.
Shouldn't they just pay whoever's the most effective more money at it? Or
I mean, you should be paid for your job. The job. Everyone who's working the same job should be getting the same amount of money. But that is not the system that many of these companies have implemented for exactly the purpose of destroying any solidarity among the workforce. And that is why that has been a real sticking point in negotiations across these UAW labor actions.
Well, here's a problem I see. If they have to pay younger people or more junior employees or more newer employees the same as more senior people, isn't that an incentive not to hire new people at all? Because you can't trust that they're
senior and junior isn't
enough
quite
to
right.
justify that.
It's more, if I hire someone to work the line and you're still doing that same job 5 years later, then why is it that you have to work a certain period of time to opt into some of the pay and benefits that accrue only later on? And that's what gets people feelings of animus toward their coworkers, and less likely to be willing to strike as a union, as a whole group, and actually shut down the workforce and get higher wages for everybody involved.
If I'm an employer, I probably want some flexibility on how much I pay people when they're starting out in order to see if they're any good at the job. If I have to hire them at a minimum salary, I might say, well, I can't take the chance for that amount of money, but I'll take the chance for a less amount of money. I guess that's...
I didn't know that hiring people to do the same job, people doing the same job should get the same pay, was going to be an especially controversial take, Robbie. But
yeah, well, I mean, people who are better at it should get more. I mean, it's exactly the same work.
That's not the question. I think a different question about bonus pay, et cetera. First of all, I think it's fantastical. I don't think that people are getting bonus pay for a lot of these jobs. This isn't a law firm. This isn't the kind of white collar employment situation where there are a ton of financial incentives in that way. I remember a friend of mine's father worked on the assembly line in Detroit at an auto manufacturer for his entire life. And I remember him telling me that his job was he kind of would throw windshields onto the conveyor belt, and every now and again, a windshield would slide off and break, and it would be at a cost to the company. And he invented some kind of trackpad that could go on the thing that basically eliminated that cost to the company, and how he calculated how much money the company must have made over the course of his life from that innovation, and how they rewarded him with like a Starbucks gift card or something. I mean, that's the reality that people are experiencing in these companies. They care about their work. They care about the quality of the cars they produce. They're invested in it. They're proud of their labor, and it's just not reflected in the way they're treated by management. It just isn't. So we'll, of course, keep an eye on this newest moment of solidarity. 4,000 Mack Truck employees joining the rest of the UAW workers on strike. Stick around. We'll have more rising for you right after this.